So when you're dancing the night away at your friend's birthday party, it's nice to know that whatever weird, inexplicable urges you may experience, you probably won't drop dead of a mysterious illness. Or maybe don't think about that and just enjoy the music. In the summer of 1518, in the heart of Strasbourg, a woman named Frau Trafia stepped out into the cobblestone streets and began to dance. She moved without music, without joy, and without stopping. At first, neighbors assumed it was some strange outburst or religious fervor. But as the hours turned into a full day and then into several, it became clear she couldn't stop. Day after day, Frau Trafia continued to dance, her limbs flailing, her feet bleeding, her body collapsing only to rise again in a kind of fevered trance. Within a week, dozens more had joined her. Men, women, and even children were suddenly seized by an uncontrollable urge to dance. They danced in silence, day and night, their bodies racked with spasms, their faces contorted in pain. Some screamed in agony while moving, others sobbed uncontrollably or foamed at the mouth. None could recall a cause, nor would they stop. The town's leaders, baffled and terrified, consulted physicians, who dismissed supernatural causes and declared it a natural illness, though the men of medicine offered no explanation. And as the dancing continued, infecting more and more townspeople, officials grew desperate. They tried everything they could think of to stop it, but nothing worked. The afflicted didn't seem to notice the mounting death toll, nor did they care. All they could do was dance. By the end of the month, the number had grown to over 400 people, almost entirely made up of young adults, though victims ranged from 15 to 60 years old. So far, 15 had died, some collapsing from exhaustion, others suffering fatal strokes or heart attacks. But the dancing continued. Strasbourg became a ghost town as the healthy fled and the afflicted took over. Authorities next tried a different tactic. Convinced that the dancers simply needed to dance it out, they constructed a stage, brought in professional musicians, and opened the town square to more dancing. They hoped this would provide an outlet for the mysterious affliction, but instead created a maelstrom of madness. The result was total chaos. For 5 days and nights, the square echoed with music and the sound of gyrating bodies. Still, no one knew why hundreds of otherwise healthy people had been stricken with a strange and terrible illness that defied explanation and seemed intent on killing them. Neither clergy nor scientist could offer a cure. The afflicted continued to dance until they dropped, sometimes literally dropping dead in the middle of the square. The musicians played on, mixing with the growing number of corpses. Women lifted their skirts to dance and revealed shrouds wrapped around their waists. Some still danced, even after being stabbed with knives or slashed with swords. The living and the dead mingled together, the music blending with screams of pain, and the stench of decay replacing the scent of flowers. It wasn't a festival, it was a plague. As the days passed, the dancers became thinner and weaker, yet they still refused to stop. Finally, on September, as quickly as it began, it stopped. Most of the dancers simply collapsed and fell asleep, never to rise again. All told, over 400 had fallen victim to the dancing plague, and nearly half had died. Those who lived were left weak and traumatized, suffering from memory loss and strange neurological problems. But no one knew why, and in the following years, no one really talked about it either. Theirs was a taboo subject, hushed up by both the church and secular authorities, so much so that it took centuries for scholars to piece together what really happened in Strasbourg that summer. It's unclear how many died in the subsequent outbreaks of dancing mania across Europe. Though the incidents at Strasbourg were the largest and best documented, they happened in communities already suffering from famine, disease, and religious persecution, which makes them especially tragic. There are 3 main theories as to what caused these outbreaks. One blames ergot poisoning, a hallucinogenic mold that grows on rye bread and has effects similar to LSD, but evidence is shaky at best. Another blames a mass psychogenic illness, a collective mental breakdown brought on by famine, religious fear, and despair. Finally, there's the theory that this was a form of religious mania, a punishment sent by God, perhaps even an organized movement. But no firm conclusions can be drawn. One thing is certain, though, this wasn't the last time something like this happened. Similar outbreaks of uncontrollable dancing continued through the 17th century. Even today, psychologists study cases of mass fainting spells at schools, mysterious uncontrollable tics spread via social media, and psychological outbreaks where symptoms travel through rumor and fear rather than germs. What happened in Strasbourg in 1518 is still debated by experts, but one thing is clear, however or why it happened, The dancing plague killed hundreds of people. So if you're ever at a party and feel an uncontrollable urge to dance, remember, you can say no. You can always say no. Just don't say yes.